This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's been a while, Frank Warren. How are you?
I'm fine, my friend. How are you?
Yes, I'm all good. I mean, I was in a 10-day quarantine coming back from Dubois, so that was a bit of a nightmare. But apart from that, obviously, society's kind of getting back to normal now, and the weather's good. So,
well, the weather's good is the main thing. It puts a smile on everybody's face, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and of course, it's a huge fight week as well this week that you've got, which will put an extra smile on your face.
It is.
But before we discuss that and anything boxing related, Frank, I do want to get your thoughts on this breakaway Super League that's being proposed and is going to happen now, and fans really aren't happy about this. What's your take on the situation?
Well, I'm certainly not happy about it. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'd love to see Arsenal play all these big clubs once a week. I think anybody who's involved with those, with the teams that are mentioned, would love to see that. But that's not what it's all about, is it? That's not what football's about. And the fact there's going to be according to them, there's no relegation. It basically becomes like a franchise situation. And I think it would be the death of football in this country. I think even if they do stay in the Premierships, I think these clubs will use the Premiership like a feeder team. They'll be playing there. But if this was to go for, I think the likes of Arsenal, whoever else is involved in it, will be using that as putting their reserves out or bringing guys through. I don't think they deserve to be in there anyway. Big Six, if it's all based about income, that's wrong. It should be based upon competition. It should be based upon, the teams that have worked hard on limited budgets and have had good managers who've got their teams into a good position, like at Leicester and also West Ham. It's just a nonsense. It will kill the game. Years ago, Man United pulled out of the FA Cup to play a Super World Club Championship. I think it was in Tokyo or somewhere, anyway, in the Far East. And the FA Cup was never the same after that. I can remember years ago, the winners of all the various cup competitions entered the European Cup Winners' Cup. That fell away, and they're now in the Europa Cup. It's not right. That's not what competition's about, and it's wrong. And I certainly, and Arsenal don't deserve to be in it anyway, especially after the weekend. They looked like crap the weekend. I don't know what on earth went on there. Although I think the VAR goal should have been, a toenail over the line was a bit fierce, I thought. But it's rubbish. It's not good. It's not good for sport. It's not good for the game. It's not good at competition. And I hope it falls on its arse.
Well, it's normally a lot of nonsense going on in boxing. For once, it's not our sport.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's discuss this week. 50-50 fight, I think that's fair to say. Two guys with limited experience, but who could push themselves onto the European and world scene for this fight. So there's so much at stake here, Frank.
It is, and I think you're what you're saying is exactly what it is. It's a 50-50 fight. It's a tough fight. It's a good fight, very good fight, and hopefully, obviously we want our man to win. Denzel to come through, but he comes through, then we'll push him for those honours. But he's got a tough fight in his hand, as has Felix as well, and there's that little bit of spice to it. The fact that they've had their differences in the past, so hopefully, we should get something a little bit special.
Yeah, I think the build-up, which starts on Wednesday fight week in the hotel bubble, might be an interesting one.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep them apart. Don't worry about that. All their fighting in the ring.
Yeah, let's talk about that then. What do you think happens Saturday night?
I just think, you know what, I really did fancy that Liam would do the business out there.
No, what do you think about this Saturday night, Frank?
This Saturday night.
Yeah,
what do I think? Sorry, mate. This Saturday night, I think I fancy Denzel. He's got to go out there. He's got to stamp his authority on the fight, and he's got to take it to him. He's very capable. He's improved dramatically over the last year. He's probably one of the most improved fighters in the country. He's been involved in some good fights, and he seems to learn from every fight and get better in certainly his last few fights. I think Martin Bowers has done a brilliant job with him. So it's a fight. A fight that he's very capable of winning. Very capable of winning.
Well, we will find out live on BT Sport this Saturday night. Well, you read my mind. I was going to ask you about the weekend. Liam with a really valiant performance, especially after the first two rounds, which was a really shocking start.
Well, he never got over him, did he? He didn't get over it. He had a bad start. He didn't get over it. He was very brave, as you say, valiant, brave, all those things. But he just never got in the fight. And And that really was it, wasn't it? You know, I think he found Andrade very awkward, rangy, and that was the fight. The pattern was set. You know, every round was a little bit repetitive after that. He just didn't get over that. But I really thought he would have a real good shot. I mean, we done our bit. I mean, my job is to get him into the position to challenge. He's fought for a world title twice before, hasn't he? With at the lower weight division. And we got him into that number 1 spot, so he's been sat there for a while and had some really good performances in establishing himself as the mandatory. But unfortunately, it wasn't his night.
I think it's fair to say, though, even though he lost the fight, his stock's certainly gone up, and he can still be in some very interesting fights at world level still.
Yeah, he can. He's a young man. He can. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And obviously, after he gets, has a little bit of a rest, gets himself back together again, we get him out and get behind him.
Of course, a lot of credit has to go to Demetrius Andrade. I mean, that uppercut that he really couldn't miss with all night. What do you think about his performance?
I thought he boxed extremely well. I thought he was going to struggle at the weight, and I as I said, I genuinely thought that Liam would give him a lot of problems. I really did think he'd give him a lot of problems, but he was very professional and he fought extremely well.
Do you think after the first 2 rounds it could be an early night?
Yeah, he was in trouble, wasn't he? I mean, as simple as that. He was in trouble, but he showed his grit, showed his bravery, and got through that.
Have you had a chat with him or Dom?
We kept missing each other. I called him before the fight. I called him just before he went out, and rang him afterwards. Left about 3 or 4 times, but I think he was drowning in his sorrows.
Well, I'm sure he'll be back soon.
He flew back today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But obviously Francis was out there.
Francis is back with him. Yeah, come back today. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Frank. I do want to talk to you about the returns of Anthony Yarde and Daniel Dubois. Let's start with Anthony Yarde because it is this week.
It's not. He's got an abscess on his gum and on a tooth, and he's had to have a tooth taken out. As we are talking, he's at the dentist having it taken out.
Okay,
so he told me yesterday. Yeah, so he's out. He's going to fight in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, well I've had tooth abscess. It's a painful thing, so.
Well, it is, and obviously he won't be able to fight, with that pain. So very disappointed for him, and obviously for the fans.
Okay, will it be the same opponent in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about that opponent. Not really known to us fans, unbeaten German. Why him? Look,
he's been out for a while now, and he had he had his losses. He had his loss with Linden. He also had a very bad year. I mean, it's a bad time for everybody with the COVID. He lost 4 members of his family. He just had a bad time. So, we're looking to get him back in the swing, and I'm looking for somebody who's got a reasonable record, which he's got a good record. He's undefeated fighters. Who knows how good they are? But I think that Anthony will be too much for him. I hope he will, and get him back in the swing. And then Linden Arthur is fighting in June, and then they will get it on again. They both agreed. So, provided they both win, there'll be a rematch with those two in early autumn.
So essentially, what you're saying, Anthony.
They've got to win the fight.
Of course. But if Anthony and Linden win their upcoming respective fights, that you can guarantee the rematch next.
Absolutely.
Okay. And what's the plans for Callum Johnson? He hasn't got tooth abscess, has he, this week?
Well, I hope not. No, he's okay, Callum. He's I'm pleased he's back with us again. He started his career out with us. He's got a decent fight, and I think he's looking to make a statement in the division. And he comes through. We'll get him involved in a big fight, and I'm sure down the road that they'll all be, that hopefully there'll be a fight with the winner of the rematch against Callum down the road.
Absolutely. So, with Anthony and Linden potentially being tied up in that rematch, are we looking at a world title shot for Callum this year?
I'd like to get one. I've been talking to Bob Arum about it. He's got a few of the guys, and we've had some good discussions about it.
Yeah, Joe Smith Jr. Obviously Arthur the Service who he already fought.
Yeah, fought a week ago.
Yes. No, but I mean, saying Callum already fought. Could have a rematch potentially.
Yeah. Maybe him and or the winner of Linden and Anthony, provided they both win their fights.
But Linden's going to be there this week, isn't he? Commentating on Callum's fight.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be interesting. Okay, Daniel Dubois is back. He returns against Bogdan Dino. Again, just talk me through that decision to box him against Dino.
Well, look, I had meetings with his team, and Tony and Martin and Daniel. His father was there, and I was sort of really looking, what to do, and what happened in the last fight was quite a strange ending to a fight. The other way it ended, and obviously he had the injury to his eyes. But I feel this fight for him is a big test for him, big comeback fight for him. Plus, we got it for the interim WBA interim title, and the WBA have said it's been recorded now in writing that the winner of the fight will be the mandatory for the WBA champion.
Wow. Okay.
So he's in a real good position, but it's it's going to be a tough comeback fight for him, and he's got a stack of pressure on him now. He's got real pressure on him, in as much that a lot of people were criticising the way the fight ended. So he's got to go out and show them what he's all about. I believe I know what he's about, and I hope I'm right in my opinion. But it is a tough fight, but it's a bloody good fight for him, and it's a good fight for the fans again.
You're right. There are going to be a lot of eyes on that fight.
Of course they are, yeah. and quite rightly so. And we'll see what happens.
We'll see what Daniel's made of.
Yeah.
So essentially, he could be fighting for a world title after that Dinu fight. Then.
Correct.
Daniel. Okay. And with Joe Joyce and Alexander Usyk, where are we at?
Well, where we're at, we've been waiting for the position is really simple. Is that we've been waiting for a long time now, and we had something coming in writing today. First time I see it today from a potential venue stating that they want to put the fight on in the autumn between Tyson and AJ. Now, if that happens, then Usyk will fight Joe Joyce, and that's why we're not doing anything for Joe Joyce. That was what we all decided. Sam Jones, everybody who's involved in the fight. It was decided that was the route we would go down. It's not my fault or anybody's fault. We are where we are. Usyk at the moment wants a direct shot at AJ. He's hoping that the fight will all fall apart between Fury, so he can get straight on with his fight with Joshua. In the meantime, whatever happens is if Joe, I'm hoping that it's Usyk and Joe, and if he does that, we got Joe in the number 2 spot. We did a lot of lobbying to get him into the spot at the WBO, and if they get that interim title fight on, then that's brilliant. It means we've got 2 Brits fighting for the unified belts, and we've got 2 other Brits fighting for interims that will put them in position to be where there'll be mandatory challengers.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying on Alexander Usyk there, because he's still mandatory for Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So why would he want to progress things?
And until that's settled, then he remains as mandatory, and he's not going to, the negotiations have just ceased completely.
Okay.
Whilst that's being sorted. But I think that'll all get resolved sometime this week, one way or another. And then once it's resolved, we can get on with our business and get Joe back in the ring. We want to get him back in the ring. He wants to capitalise on a really good performance he had against Daniel, and quite rightly so. We want to get him out as soon as possible.
Okay, I do want to pick up on something that you just said. So you've had a site write to you today about Tyson and AJ.
Yeah.
Is that the first time?
Well, right to the team, right to our side of the team, to the fight, and that's there's been a few things flying about, but it's hopefully moving in the right direction, but it's not done yet.
Okay.
It's not done yet.
In the build-up to Williams Andrade, Eddie did go on interviews, etc., and said that all parties had agreed on a site. What can you say about that? Well,
we'll agree on the site when all the terms are met. It's it's funny that people keep saying that I don't want the fight to happen. I mean, what sort of stupid comments are they? If Tyson Fury is fighting AJ, just think from a commercial point of view, there's more money in it for us than if he's fighting somebody else. So why wouldn't we want that fight? But all I'm doing is being realistic about it. And for how many months now has this fight been done? You know, that's all I'm saying. No one's stopping it from being done. Let's get the terms agreed by everybody, and let's get the thing done. And the only way we're going to do that is which we are doing, is pushing together to get it over the line. So, for the first time in the last, what is it now? We've seen something fairly positive in writing.
Okay. So
that's where we are. And in the meantime, what we've been doing, because we're concerned that, we've obviously got to have a plan B. We've been talking about, trying to see if we can do it in a different way. So we've been talking to other people as well. So we all are working hard, all of us. I know that Matchroom is working hard. You said Eddie Hearn's working hard. I know that everybody, our side, their side, are all pushing to get this fight done because we want to get it done. We want to get this fight on. No one doesn't want it to happen. But it's no good saying, oh, it's done, because what's the date? Tell me where the venue is. I don't know any of that. I don't know that at the moment. We're involved in it, so no one knows it.
Can you tell me on that offer, that site offer that you saw today, or the letter that you saw, is it a territory that we'd expect, Frank?
I don't know what you expect. Look, I'm not even going to go there with that. I mean, at the end of the day, and I won't, because I'm not going to go there, because I don't think it's right until it's done. And if we can get the terms into an acceptable form for everybody, then I'll tell you what, I'll be shouting it out before anybody else. I'll break the confidentiality clause again. Look, we just want to get it on. We just want to get it out there, get it on, and get it on as soon as possible.
Again,
I spoke to the person last week who was making the offer.
Okay.
I rang him myself, and I'm, he was adamant that they're going to do it.
Again, Eddie said that the TV situation, which I don't know if it's been spoke about yet between you guys, won't be a problem at all.
No, provided it's what we've all agreed.
Okay.
In this country, BT and Sky will take it. That's what we have to do, ensure that all our contractual obligations are not breached.
I will ask you also about Sadiq Khan's comments. He said that he does want the fight here, etc. I don't know how realistic that is this summer with a.
Do you know what? It's not a problem. And all that money he keeps charging people for extra money for congestion charges, 11 o'clock, 7 days a week. Put that money up, and we'll put it on in London.
What, do you think we can get full capacity this summer?
I don't think we'll get full capacity anywhere in Europe. Certainly in the UK, I don't think until probably, if we're lucky, August onwards, if we're lucky. Because obviously the football clubs, that's what they want. And they're driving this more than anybody.
So is that something, when you guys are talking, that you're pushing for to get this in the UK?
I'd like to see it in the UK. So it's two Brits fighting for the world title. That's where we want it to be. But at the end of the day, these guys are in an important fight, and they've got their financial expectations. What they expect to earn from the fight. So they're the ones that are getting in the ring. They're the ones going to get punched in the head. So they want to get the maximum amount of money for it, because there's a lot on the line for it.
Okay, I know it's difficult to talk about that subject, so I do appreciate you giving me as much as you can on Fury Joshua. Just want to go back to Anthony Yarde quickly. I forgot to say this. He made some comments recently about last year and how difficult it was for him, and that he didn't mourn properly, and that he didn't give himself time to get over the losses, etc. But he seems in a better place now. Have you talked to him about that?
No, I haven't. At the time, when he lost his daddy's drum, obviously we'd had conversations and sending messages, and I think that's a real. There's been. I've noticed in the pandemic, I know a few people, families, my family, and people have lost their loved ones from the COVID. And I think some people haven't had the opportunity to do that, because it's like it's happened, it's gone. It's not like you can even go to a funeral and all the family are there and you've got a chance. It's like, at that time, I think it was only 8 people were allowed at funerals, weren't they? So it's not like all the family could even get together and, and reminisce and talk about their loved one and so forth, or, their loss. So I get that. I know another one of my best friends died, and I know his wife never even got a chance to say goodbye to him or anything. It was he went to the hospital, and suddenly she got a phone call saying, he's not going to last the night. Can we pass a message on? I mean, what is that? You know, how dreadful is that? So how do you get over that? I mean, it's just, and you're not allowed to go and see them afterwards, even go and see them in there, resting in a funeral parlour after that, because of the COVID and the danger. So I think in Anthony's case, I think that may have been one of his problems. Having said that, you know, Lyndon Arthur won the fight, and you can't take away from what he did. There's always someone gets beat. There's always a reason for it and so forth, and that's a dreadful thing. What happened with Anthony, but Lyndon won the fight, and he was given the fight fair and square, and that's how it is. So, if Anthony wants to set the record straight, in his opinion, set the record straight, then he'll be doing that if he wins his next fight, and Lyndon comes through his one. They get it on, and the best man will win on the night.
And as far as you know, he's staying with Tunde?
Yeah, I spoke to Tunde yesterday. He's been telling me every day about the problem with the teeth, with his tooth. Sorry.
Do you know if there's any additions coming to help Tunde out in the training setup?
I think that's for them to announce that if they have got somebody. I mean, that's not my job. That's up to them to if it is the case, it's up for them to say what it is.
And also, what's the situation with Daniel Dubois, training wise?
He's being trained at the moment by Jimmy Tibbs and Mark Tibbs. Mark, as you know, is at the moment tied up with Billy Joe Saunders in preparation for his fight against Canelo.
Okay. Yeah, I did think that, but obviously last time I spoke to you, they said there was going to be an update, etc. So it looks like he's stuck with Jimmy and the Tibbs gym. At
the moment, that's where it is. But Martin's his manager.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm again asked him, and he'll tell you what's what.
Okay. What did you think about the BT documentary, Frank?
I didn't see it. I watched Line of Duty.
You didn't watch it?
I want to see who H is. No, what did I? Look, it was what it was.
A true reflection.
Yeah, I think Daryl done a few things could have been in there that weren't in there. But how much time you got? I didn't know nothing about the rugby that we had, the rugby club I was involved with, BoxNation hardly got mentioned or anything. That was quite an interesting. I thought it was an interesting time and story. But yeah, I thought Daryl done a good job.
You a Line of Duty fan then?
Yeah, don't you like it? I love it.
I know, I love it. Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love that, and I thought Unforgotten was good because obviously we're all doing the same thing. I was doing the same thing. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we're going to start being more busy now. So.
Yeah. We've only got 2 episodes to go. So it was a cliffhanger last night. Someone got shot.
Okay, so Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren this weekend, and he called out Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury's been responding.
Listen, do you know what? That ain't a problem making that fight. Just Jake, call us. We'll do the fight. Do it in a heartbeat. I said that weeks and weeks ago. Let's. If you want the fight, it's not a problem with us.
But at the moment, there's been no talks of it.
Nothing. No one's contacted me. That's for sure. Okay. And they can't have to do that if they want to make it.
Some people might not like it, but how big is that fight, Frank?
I think it'd be a massive fight. You've got, for obvious reasons. They've both got this massive social following. Tommy's doing a good job as a boxer. He's. I don't mean he's being disrespectful, but he's still a novice. He's still got a way to go. But everything that's been asked of him, he's done, and he's looked good doing it. And obviously, Jake Paul. I've only ever seen him in one. The YouTube fight, was it YouTube, which was quite competitive, but it was what it was, As I've said all along, I think it's a good fight for Tommy. Not a problem me making that fight.
Sell out an arena so easily.
Well, look, they can earn a lot of money from it, the two guys. I'm not going to knock it. Like, I don't knock the two. I don't knock Jake Paul and whoever else it was and the money they earn. Good luck to them. God bless them. They're trained hard. They're doing it. But what I don't want, from my perspective, people think that is boxing at its best, because it's not. That's not. That's not guys who devoted their whole lives to it and worked very hard, and it was just. It's a level, isn't it? It's a level, but it's a level that, in this day and age, that social media clientele will buy into, and they buy into it. So,
I think if you take it for what it is, entertainment, then
that is it. That's it. Yeah.
But a lot of people don't like some of the fights that Triller are putting on, where like Holyfield's coming back against Kevin.
I don't like any of it. I don't like any of that. I didn't like Mike Tyson come out. I don't like any of it. Boxing's a dangerous sport, and guys that age should not be fighting. They shouldn't be fighting. End of story. They shouldn't be fighting. It's not good for them. It's not good for them. And again, for the sport, it's not good. Some people think that's what boxing is. We're trying to attract a bigger audience. So you're trying to bring people in who might not normally buy into boxing, but will buy into the fact that, oh, that's Holyfield or Mike Tyson, and think that's what's going on. But it's not. It's old guys in the ring, and they're getting a few quid out of it, and good luck to them. That's their life, their choice, and no one's who am I to stop them or even say about stopping them doing it. They want to do it. That's their choice. But me personally, I don't buy into it.
Sorry, Frank, just to go back to Fury Joshua, possibly the last one, you did make some comments on Talk Sport that Rod McCracken will be with Team GB in Tokyo, and that might be an issue in getting a fight on in July or the summer.
Yeah, again, people took that as a negative. It wasn't a negative. That's me saying, if he is going to be, which he is, isn't he? He's not resigned from Team GB?
As far as I know, no.
Right, so then you would assume he's not just going to be there, he's training the team. So he's going to be tied up training, not one fighter, the squad. He's involved with the whole squad. I know he's got assistants, but he's going to be training. And I'm sure Anthony Joshua, fighting Tyson Fury in the biggest fight of his life, will want 100% focus from his trainer, not his trainer doing a bit here and a bit there. That's the point I was making. That's not a criticism. That's not me putting a barrier up. That's me asking a question. And the question, and for me, that was, why did everyone keep talking about this fight's going to take place in July? I don't see how he can be in two places in July. So, logic.
So honestly, when do you think the fight happens? More realistic, later in the year?
I hope it'll go on in hope. Well, they're talking the conversation we had. They're talking about getting it on sometime in August. I hope that's going to be the case. We will see.
Okay, all right. Frank, I will ask you about a big fight coming up with your former fight and also a still good friend, Billy Joe Saunders, against Canelo Alvarez. He looks in fantastic shape. Seems motivated as ever. He's actually out in Vegas training with Tyson at a top-ranked gym. Thoughts on that one?
Look, it's a tough fight for him, but Bill has done everything that's been asked of him as a pro. And when he's on the money, he's a very, very, very difficult fighter to beat. He's undefeated. Very difficult fight. When he's at his best, he's as good as anybody out there. Any fight he's had where he's been an underdog, he's risen to the occasion and won the fight. My only reservation is that Canelo has fought at light heavyweight, so he's a naturally big guy. He's come down again, so he's obviously a very big super middleweight. Bill was fighting at middleweight, that's gone up, and Canelo's very comfortable at that weight. So it's, for me, that's in the back of my mind. Is Bill going to be really comfortable at that weight against somebody who's going to be very strong and obviously very, very skillful? Now in the States, they all think that Canelo is going to be a walkover. Billy Joe's made a sterner stuff than that, and he's got a bit of a ticker there as well. So I think that it's a tough fight for Bill, but you certainly couldn't write him off in it. I wouldn't write him off in the fight.
Well, that is on DAZN, and obviously Andrade Williams was on a UK kind of specific time on DAZN, etc. And we know the contract with Sky and Matchroom is coming to a close. Whether he renews with Sky.
Yeah, go with DAZN. I've said that all along. I've been saying.
Have you heard something about that?
No, I haven't heard anything, but that's my opinion. But I've said that for a long, long time. Because if he doesn't go with DAZN, how can he? What are they going to do about their American shows? He's either with DAZN or he's with Sky. You can't swim in two ponds. So he's gonna have to make his mind up, and I'm quite sure he's made his mind up.
Do you think potentially then Sky could drop boxing, Frank?
I hope they don't. I'll be really disappointed. I mean, the question is, will Anthony Joshua go with him? I don't think he will, because I think that it'll stay at Sky. I may be wrong. I mean, it's just a personal opinion. And if he does, he does. He's got one fight left with AJ. unless this deal gets done, then it's a 2-fight deal. So it's quite interesting to see what will happen there. But I hope they don't. I think they'll stay in the pay-per-view business. Whether they still put boxing on it to subscribe remains to be seen. It's interesting times, but they'll do whatever it takes. I'm sure. I know everybody's around that honeypot at the moment. They're all everybody's trying to get themselves in there in case Matchroom do go. But I think Matchroom are gone. I think that's a matter of time. And what I do understand is that Sky haven't even made him an offer.
Okay. Right.
That's what I'm told.
Obviously, there is various other promotional outfits operate in Europe, etc. But if they do remain, it won't be an exclusive with anyone. They'll have to.
I think that. Well, who knows? They may do that. They may not. That's going to be their choice. I mean, all I know is we just focus on what we got. We got a long-term deal with BT, and we just work on that. I mean, that's all that I care about. As long as we're okay, I'm all right, Jack. Let everybody else get on with it.
I wonder how the football situation is going to affect like other sports, like with BT and the amount they put into boxing. What do you think will happen with that?
In what way?
So obviously the dynamic of football is going to completely be changing.
Well, look, who knows what's going to happen with this Super League thing, whether it's going to break away, and if it does, there'll be as you say, there'll be a totally new dynamic to it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to have a lot of problems with it. No. At least I hope they have a lot of problems with it, because I don't think it's healthy, as we discussed at the start of of the show. But I think look, all these TV companies, in my time in boxing, all of them, the number one sport for them is football. Simple as that. And whatever it takes to get the rights for the big matches, they'll find. But they will leave some over for other sports. And boxing has been a victim in the past when they've had to go to the well, where they've cut back on shows. The reason I left Sky was when Barney Francis cut back. He said, we're only going to do, all you're going to get, there's a couple, I think it's about 3 of us promoters, all you're going to get is 8 shows a year, and I'm going to pay you £100,000 per show. How could you run? How can you even run a business? That's how BoxNation came about, and that's where his head was. So I left a year before before that Matchroom, before they wound up getting into bed with Matchroom. I think they would all have their eye on the ball, because as far as football's concerned, because that's what we all watch. That's our national sport. But the second most popular sport is boxing.
Yeah, and not that we want football to die, because we all love the sport, etc. But if it goes the way it seems like
it will die.
Yeah, then is that going to help boxing in this country?
Look, who knows where, mate? It might not help sport at all. It could have a reverse effect, but it won't. It will really hurt football. I mean, do I want to pay for a season ticket where I'm going to see? Right, I'm going to see this new Champions League game. So I'm going, in my case, I'm going to go and see Arsenal play, Juventus or Milan, or I'm going to see them play, any of the other big European clubs and some of the British clubs on a regular basis. Yeah, that all sounds good, but what's going to happen on the Saturday and the Sunday? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to Europe? They're obviously not going to play in the Europa League anymore, the lower echelons, and I think it's just going to dilute the sport. And I think the Premiership will wind up becoming like what happened to the FA Cup years ago. I think it will diminish the value of it, which is dreadful, because that's not what competition's all about. And I know it's been an unusual season with COVID and that, but some of these results and some of the clubs have been brilliant. Looking some of these young managers coming through. Look at Everton. They're going to spend nearly £1 billion on a stadium, and they're not in this. What is that all about? That's not right. It can't be right. It can't be right.
Okay, just to close off, whilst I was kept captive when I come back from Dubai in a hotel, I didn't manage to speak to you, and we haven't spoke since Willie Hutchinson's loss and Lennox Clarke's brilliant win, and also Carl Frampton. Let's start with Lennox Clarke, who got the win. What are the plans for him this year?
Well, do you know what? I never knew going that fight he didn't have any amateur fights.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was told, and I was quite shocked at that. So he done brilliant. He's been up here and. Well, we weren't behind him. It's like you always, we're doing an interview. You ask me an opinion, who I think will win a fight, and I think who was the favourite for that? I think with everybody, other than Lennox, Clarke and his trainer, nobody picked Lennox, Clarke. Everybody picked Willie to win. Being very honest, and I thought he would, but Lennox went in there and totally upset all the odds and done a magnificent job. I mean, that was an emphatic win. Willie. He's got it. It's tough. If he's got anything about him, and we know he's got a tremendous amateur experience. But if he's got anything about him, he's got to come back strong. Now the question is, can he do that? Does he want to do that? Can he do it? And that's going to show what he's all about. That we'll see what he's all about because Lennox done extremely well, and Lennox will go on. He'll be involved in some bigger fights, and that's what it is.
Well, he said he'd take the Ryan Richards rematch for free.
I'd do that in a heartbeat. That's no problem. We'd do that. That first fight was quite a close fight. A lot of people thought it went the other way.
And with Willie, do you think he'll be back in the ring soon?
Yeah, I want to get him out in the summer once he sorts himself out. Gets his back. And Dominic's obviously is out there with Liam, so he'll be back. And when he gets back, I'll speak to him. And see what's what. We'll work it out.
I know it's been a few weeks since the fight in Dubai with Carl and Jamel. I didn't speak to you about it since. Just a word on Carl's career.
Well, Carl's career's been exemplary. He's probably one of the best, or certainly one of the best two fighters to come out of Ireland in my time. That's for sure. In boxing, he's been a magnificent professional. Done everything that's asked him. And it was a great shame for him, that fight. A lot of people fancied him to win it. I thought he had a real good chance, but. It was too big, much too big for him, and too strong for him, and he just didn't get going, did he? He just didn't get going, and Herring was it was a weight too far for him. But he's made the right decision now to retire and spend time with his family, and everybody in boxing, I know, all wish him the best, and he'll go down as one of the great Irish fighters, no doubt about that.
Absolutely. Well, a huge fight week this week with Bentley Cash. Also, next week, let's not forget, Sonny Edwards bids to become world champion, Michael Conlan on the bill, and also Ryan Garner back. Yeah,
I spoke to him. He called me last week. We had quite a good chat, and he seems to settle down. He's told me he's got a girlfriend, and they've got a flat. And he said, I've got responsibilities now. I said, well, I'm really pleased to hear that. I said, because he's one of the most talented fighters out there. But as I always say, talent is not everything. It's dedication. And hard work, and if the penny's dropped, which I'm told it has, and he's been really looking good in the gym, then brilliant. That's great for him and great for boxing because he's a fantastic little fighter.
Well, let's hope this time it does go right for Ryan. He stays on track.
Yeah, touch wood.
But yes, Sonny looking to get his world title.
He's got a tough fight.
Yeah.
I mean, the African's a tough fight. He beat Teti. I mean, it's a real tough fight. But you know what? Sonny's an extremely good boxer. He's got a great boxing brain, and the fact we've got the fight over here, I hope that'll give him the edge, and I hope he'll come through it. But it's a tough fight for him. But whatever happens, we'll make sure that we're with him and we'll support him all the way. But I really do think he's got a great chance of becoming world champion against the toughest in the division.
And Michael Conlan's got a tough fight. Obviously, we saw Baluta got a good win against Oliver Joyce last time out. So he's in a real fight, Conlan.
He's got a hard fight there, tough fight there. But he's great prospects, and let's hope we get a great performance from him too.
Okay, so BT Sport this weekend for Bentley Cash, and also Edwards and Conlan next weekend. Is there anything you'd like to add, Frank, before we close?
No, I think all good, mate. We're looking forward to hopefully getting some good news this week for the fans regarding Tyson and AJ. That's really what we all want to hear.
Realistic this week, yeah?
I hope so. We push for it. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Well, appreciate your time on IFL TV as always down at your office, and I'm sure we'll have a catch up soon, all right?
Lovely. Thanks a lot. Cheers, mate.